I've been a dating consultant for 9 years. I'm the largest, most followed men's dating coach in the world, and I've helped thousands of men get into relationships and marriages with their 10 out of 10 dream girl. And in this video, I'm going to compress 9 years of my experience into 100 of my most important tips to massively change your dating life this year.
Starting with number 1, stop pedestalizing women.
Guys have this crazy idea that because the girl is hot, she's automatically superior to them. But when you think like this, you're subconsciously putting these women or total strangers to you on a pedestal. Yes, she looks gorgeous, but her looks are only a tiny piece of what makes up a good partner in a relationship. If you have the mindset and belief that women are better than you simply because they're attractive, then you're actively killing your chances with her. If you treat her like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. Women are only attracted to those who they perceive to be on the same level as them or above them. If you treat her like she's better than you before you even get to know her, it'll be an instant turn off. Just because they're attractive doesn't mean they're better or more valuable than you. She's a human with flaws just like you, so treat her like a human being. The most attractive girls are used to men objectifying them and only seeing or using them for their looks. The harsh truth is that lots of guys see a hot girl as a trophy or a prize to be won and aren't actually interested in who she is as a person. Don't be like the 99% of guys who are mesmerized with her looks alone. Use your brain. Treat her as an equal and you'll immediately stand out without actually needing to do much. Act with certainty. Most guys move through romantic interactions with a flip-floppy, supplicating frame because they're afraid to say the wrong thing out of fear of the girl not liking them. Certainty is especially important if you're a man who's successful and well off, because if you're a leader in your personal and professional life, but you become a flimsy, insecure child in front of a pretty girl, that incongruence is going to be extremely repelling to the most attractive women. The way you become more certain in your interactions is to adopt a take it or leave it mentality. You have to be willing to let women who aren't compatible with your personality, values, and beliefs walk out the door because it means they're not the right fit for you. It establishes you as the person in control of your interactions. And that's why it's important to always assume attraction. When you assume the girl is already attracted and into you, your vibe, energy, and presence will be a lot more confident and magnetic. You'll be less likely to act needy and seek her approval, and you'll be more playful, be more willing to go for it in conversation, and subconsciously you'll act with more conviction around her. Conviction is magnetic. It's one of the most masculine traits, and if you radiate this energy, it will make girls want to follow your lead. When you're meeting a girl in person, it can be a little bit awkward. Having the strong sense of conviction will allow you to take charge of the situation and diffuse any awkwardness. When exposed to new people or new situations, people in general will tend to follow the path of least resistance. So if you come in and take the lead, most people, man or woman, will tend to follow. It's like the old saying goes, act like you've been there before and people will believe you. Don't be a nice guy. The reason girls hate nice guys and love bad boys is simple. Nice guys aren't actually nice. They're fake nice and supplicating to the girl because it fits their agenda. They think if I exchange niceness, the girl will give me attraction and sex in return. You're trying to use guilt and reciprocity to make her like you. This is completely flawed. The fact that you're being dishonest and hiding your intentions behind this fake nice guy persona is cowardly and feminine behavior. Hence why women are repulsed by nice guys and instead attracted to bad boys, simply because bad boys are unapologetic when it comes to going for what they want. Ask for her Instagram, not her phone number. If you're still asking a girl for her phone number, you're kind of an idiot. Instagram is the modern day business card. By giving her your Instagram, this allows her to stalk you virtually and see you're not a weirdo, but instead a cool guy. So even if you're awkward or mess up the in-person conversation, Instagram can be your second chance at a good first impression. First impressions matter a lot. If you approach a girl and say the wrong thing, your chances with her will immediately go to zero. But as long as you exchange Instagrams, there's still a chance. If your Instagram profile is set up correctly, she'll immediately throw that bad first impression out the window and exchange it with this new and improved you she sees on your profile. Let's say you match on a dating app and get her to reply to your message. You quickly exchange Instagrams and you exponentially increase your chances of getting her on a date, because once you follow each other, you'll continue to pop up on her feed, giving you that second chance you need to show her your value as a romantic partner and recapture her interest. On the other hand, if she ignores your Tinder message or your text, she'll just forget about you and never think about you again. You don't have the opportunity to re-engage her the same way you can with Instagram. Instagram. Instagram opens the door for you to follow up and re-engage that connection in a much more organic and natural way. Instagram is the CRM for your dating life. It serves as your management tool. All the girls you're exploring connections with, you move them all into one place. Match a girl on a dating app, you get her Instagram. You cold approach a girl, you get her Instagram. Meet a girl through a friend, you get her Instagram. Why? Because if you have lots of girls that you're managing, but you want to pick out and find the highest quality ones to explore a serious relationship with, girls who are girlfriend material, you want to be able to explore and manage all your different options in one place. The most efficient way to do that is with Instagram. Posting one story that gets you a half a dozen responses from the women you're talking to is much easier than sending and managing 6 individual texts to 6 different girls. Replying and liking stories, liking photos, all of these are minor touch points that keep you top of mind and increase the likelihood you'll get the date over time. Having all of the women you're exploring connections with in one place makes it 10 times easier than individually texting one girl at a time. You're out there, you're making money, exploring the world. You don't have time to be texting 10 girls individually if you're a man who wants to save time. Not to mention, it feels more natural and organic to start conversations via Instagram rather than over text. In the modern day, Instagram is your new digital social circle, so make sure you use it to your advantage. Get into the boyfriend category. When you first meet a girl, she'll typically categorize you as potential boyfriend material, or she'll just put you into the friend category. You have a limited amount of time to make a lasting impression, so it's best to make your intentions clear from the start by flirting with her, making it known that you've categorized her as potential girlfriend material as opposed to just a friend. This is crucial because if you meet a girl and only ever act friendly towards her, then suddenly tell her you like her 2 months later, she's gonna be like, huh? What the fuck? Why'd you wait so long to tell me? I thought we were just friends. And trust me, that's the last thing you want. Take advantage of that first impression by showing her that you're a good romantic fit for her, which is why you want to make your intentions clear. If you're trying to get a girl on a first date, the most important thing to remember is this: the longer you wait before asking for the date, the more likely you are to get ghosted and lose your chance. Most guys will just chat and chat and chat all day and pussyfoot around asking for the date or escalating to the phone number. You can have the wittiest line in the world, but if it doesn't lead to a date, it's pointless. Dating is quite literally the most competitive game known to man. If you hesitate, you masturbate. If you take too long, before you know it, she's already decided you're weird and a waste of time, and now she's on a date with the straightforward and direct guy she matched with on Tinder the night before. This is exactly why texting is the most important dating skill. Attractive girls get hit on by thirsty guys 24/7. The modern dating game is a constant competition for a girl's attention. The average hot girl gets dozens of texts per day from desperate guys trying to date her. There's no way she could date every single guy who texts her. So what does she do? She uses texting to filter out the guys she's considering dating from those she's not interested in. That's why a girl may match you on a dating app but not respond to your text. It's because you're saying the wrong things. Every time you send a girl a text, she's testing you. Your text message serves as an audition. She's using your text conversations to decide whether you're good enough to respond to or potentially date. If you send a text message that doesn't pass the audition, then you've lost your opportunity. That's why when you're texting on dating apps, it's important that you ask for the date within the first 1 to 3 messages. Dating apps are meant for dating. If you match with a girl, you've both indicated that there is romantic interest. So the logical next step is to capitalize on that interest and go on a date. A lot of guys feel the need to supplicate and beat around the bush with their intentions, so they try to make a bunch of small talk and then just get ghosted. This people-pleasing tendency is unproductive and cringe for a grown man. Just be direct. The dating app has already done the work of establishing romantic context for you. Just ask for the date. Best case scenario, she says yes and boom, you got it with minimal work. Worst case, she says no and asks to chat a little bit more before agreeing to the date. Either way, your intentions are now clear and now your conversation has purpose and is moving in the right direction. The most important thing to remember is that texting has one purpose: to set up dates. That's it. If you're a successful high-value guy, the biggest mistake and waste of time is having an aimless back and forth texting tennis match that never leads to a date. The most important metric that matters on dating apps is efficiency. The whole process from match to date is just about getting her out on a date with you in real life in as few texts as possible. The rate at which girls disappear on a dating app is insanely high because there's infinite distractions. Long drawn out convos are a complete waste of time since they're taking place through a screen and you wouldn't even actually be getting to know her all that well. You want to be face to face building a real connection as soon as possible. By asking for the date ASAP, you waste less time in mindless convos and you actually increase the chances of getting a date. If you're already wealthy, you probably don't invest enough time into your dating life because the ROI isn't there. The easiest way to make dating enjoyable is to spend the majority of your time actually on dates, not in a days-long texting tennis match with a girl who's gonna flake on you anyways. And if you're a successful older guy who's still struggling to get matches and dates from dating apps, me and my team will literally build your dating profile for you from scratch. We will do all the heavy lifting with done-for-you dating profile creation, from photos, bios, and prompts to copy-paste message scripts that will guarantee you dates and save you hours of time, and a custom A through Z game plan for building you a pipeline of girlfriend quality women. Me and my team can have your calendar packed full of dates in just 30 days. So if you're serious about getting this area of your life handled now, click the first link in the description. Be willing to look stupid. Cold approach is all about being willing to look stupid. That's why most men won't do it. Their ego and self-image is too fragile. But that same willingness to look stupid applies to business and making money. No risk, no reward. The avoidance of risk and your hesitation to get rejected is inherently feminine. If you sit in your bubble-wrapped reality where you never put yourself out there and never face the risk of a rejection, you are no longer a man. You are simply living a cucked, slave-like existence. No woman will respect a man who is living in fear. The same limiting beliefs and character deficiencies that prevent you from approaching a woman are the same limiters that make them unattracted to you. You need to genuinely ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to be unattractive to a woman? Stop watching Red Pill podcasts. There's no shortage nowadays of podcasts, gurus, and statistics showing that dating is more difficult and less fulfilling than ever. The irony of this is that dating is actually one of the simplest things ever. So simple that every single one of your caveman ancestors in history was able to do it. If you believe dating is difficult, then you're really just admitting that you are the dumbest man in your ancestral lineage. Society is more densely populated and interconnected than ever. You see more women in a single day than your ancestors did in their entire lifetime. You can instantly swipe on any woman within a 100-mile radius. The problem is that society has created an unlimited amount of safety nets, distractions, and excuses to avoid pursuing relationships with women. Porn, social media, OnlyFans, video games. You can avoid all the discomfort and fear that comes from interacting with women all through your screen. Why would you leave the house and talk to a girl if you could literally get your load off from the comfort of your home? But where this gets dangerous is that the longer you sit inside and avoid the discomfort, the more opportunities you miss out on with women. And the problem is that the more successful you tend to be, the easier it is to rationalize your lack of success with dating. Oh, but at least I'm rich. But at least I'm in good shape. That's great. But what does that have to do with your dating life? Stop coping because your failures in dating are not magically solved by your success in other areas of your life. If you want to get this area of your life handled, it's going to require you to be brutally honest with yourself and put in an intentional effort. Take accountability. Most men have an avoidant approach to their dating life. Deep down, they know they're not dating the type of women they want, yet they don't actively do anything about it. They lackadaisically swipe through dating apps and think that this is putting in effort. Meanwhile, they're never taking the time to get high-quality photos of themselves or craft a compelling bio and opening line that will actually get them results. They never approach women in the real world, and they never seek out help from others who have already figured it out. 99% of men do the absolute bare minimum in their dating lives and then are surprised that they have mediocre results. Genuinely ask yourself, have you given your dating life a 10 out of 10 maximum effort? When was the last time you actually approached a girl? Have you tried everything you possibly can? Anything worth having in life requires intentionality and investment. You don't magically wake up one day with six-pack abs. You don't magically wake up one day with an extra 100K in your bank account. You have to make a conscious decision in order to make progress with dating. Wanting something and actively working towards something are two completely different things. Most of you want a better dating life, but almost none of you are working towards a better dating life. For some reason, men have adopted a feminine view on dating. They believe that the right one will come into your life when the time is right. Wrong. You are a man. Nothing gets handed to you when it comes to your fitness or finances. Would you put in zero effort and expect a positive result to get handed to you just because? Of course not. So why do you hold yourself to such an embarrassingly low standard in your dating life? Understanding that your current perspective and approach on dating is holding you back is the first step to actually making big changes. And that's why it's so important to have these mental downloads so that it changes your perspective and thus ends up changing your actions. Stop leading with your success. Attractive women are hit on by rich and successful men all the time. Your success and money alone are not enough to help you stand out. All she cares about is how you make her feel and the connection you can build with her. The top 1% of women are really only interacting with the top percentage of men. So the fact that you have money and status alone is not the thing that will make you stand out. This is where your ability to communicate emotionally and connect with a woman is really going to make or break whether or not she chooses you over anyone else. Remember, girls just want to have fun. I do private consulting for software developers, entrepreneurs, engineers, doctors, and the most common mistake I see them make with women is that they're too logical. What you probably fail to realize is that your smart and logical brain is useless in a romantic interaction. Relationships are about people. People are emotional. A woman is going to choose the man who can make her feel the best. That's why focusing on emotion over logic is much more important with women. The same is true when you're chatting up a stranger on the street. If a girl is looking at you, think like a caveman. See the cute girl? Approach the cute girl. That's literally it. If you make it any more complicated or think about it any harder than that, you're going to end up coming up with a million reasons why you shouldn't approach, and the opportunity will be lost. Your 85 IQ caveman ancestors were able to meet a woman and reproduce with no problem. No logic needed. How is it possible that you, the guy with all the world's knowledge at your fingertips, still can't figure out how to say hi to a girl? It's because all of your knowledge has domesticated you and put you in the passenger seat. A passive receiver of information rather than an active participant in day-to-day reality. Dating and relationships is one of the few places where emotions trump logic. So throw all of that high IQ stuff out the window and embrace your inner caveman. And when you do this on your next approach, make sure that you smile. When you're approaching a stranger, their first thought is always going to be, is this person a threat? By smiling and making eye contact, you immediately diffuse some of the tension and allow her to see that your intentions are pure and genuine. Nowadays, everyone wants to pretend and be Mr. Cool, alpha male, macho guy. But when you're approaching a stranger, that's never gonna fly. You'll always attract more bees with honey than vinegar. So get over yourself, smile, and don't play the fake tough guy who's too cool for school. Because whether or not a girl responds positively to the approach is gonna depend on if she thinks that you are a normal and safe person who she can spend some time with. So once you're smiling and ready to make the approach, make sure you don't make the mistake of talking way too softly. If you approach a girl in almost any public setting, be it a club, bar, workout class, university class, or anywhere that has other people, you need to talk loudly and with purpose. If you talk way too softly to where she can barely hear you, she's gonna assume that you don't think what you have to say is important because you're too nervous to say it loud and proud. If you don't believe that what you have to say is worthy of listening to, she's not gonna believe it either. If she can't hear you, then there are no words being exchanged and thus no connection being built. And the truth is, your words matter and they should always come first. That's why you want to escalate verbally before you escalate physically. If you want to make a move on a girl without getting rejected, make a flirty comment, tease her a bit, make a risque joke, do some sort of escalation with your words first and see how she reacts. If she seems uncomfortable, then you know she's not ready for you to make a move physically. If she reacts positively, then you know there's a very good chance she'll like it when you make a move physically by holding her hand, putting your arm around her, or even kissing her. Escalating this way ensures that the girl is comfortable at all times and gives you an easy way to read her interest level. That's why it's critical that you do the next tip, which is slow down. If you want to make a move on a date, it needs to be subtle and smooth. When you get to more intimate environments such as your house, a quieter part of the bar or party, and it's just you and the girl, slow down. Talk slower. Keep really strong eye contact. Slow down the cadence of your speech, and you can even lower the volume of your voice because it's just you and her. All of these subtle communicators help put her in the mood and will make your conversation a lot more romantic regardless of what is being said. And if she seems receptive and comfortable, then you can start slowly escalating physically and see how she responds. You don't need to be Mr. Personality. Pickup artists ruined an entire generation of men. They've sold you the lie that you have to be overly witty 24/7, constantly try to gain the girl, and act like an insufferable fuckboy. This couldn't be further from the truth. It might get you some early success as a beginner, but it will actively hinder you as you try to get better with women. I personally fell into this trap early on and it kept me stuck for years. If you want to get good at game, it's about removing the need to be Mr. Personality 24/7. The need to flex on a girl and put on a whole circus performance just to keep her attention is actually low value as fuck. It turns you into a clown, a dancing monkey. And logically, it makes no sense because it assumes the girl is worth impressing in the first place. When the truth is, most women are not a good fit for you. Most guys over-romanticize women and think that they're flawless creatures who are unequivocally perfect for them and can do no harm. But this is just because they never met enough women to understand that they have flaws too. In reality, most women are not perfect for you. You are going to be the wrong fit for most women. This understanding and realization should empower you because it shows you that there's really not much to lose in the majority of interactions with women, because on a long-term basis, you guys are probably not the right fit for each other anyways. The buyer's mentality. You should approach all of your interactions with women from a buyer's mentality. Too many guys spend all their time selling themselves to women before even knowing if she's the right fit for them. them. You need to genuinely ask yourself, is she the right girl to bring into your life? Is she the woman who could one day bear your children? Because if she isn't, then she's not worth selling yourself to in the first place. The princess effect. Guys, especially young guys, tend to create what I call the princess effect. It's when they like a girl they barely know and start imagining all types of scenarios about how you two will be together and how amazing she is. But if you bring yourself back down to reality and think logically, you'd realize that, brother, you've had maybe 2 dates with her, yet she's living rent-free in your head 24 hours a day. Your most important asset is your attention. Invest it in people and things who matter, not in imaginary over-romanticizations of the women that you just met. Beware of the wealth trap. If you're a wealthy man, your success is likely your biggest blind spot in dating. Because you've built an identity around your money, status, and success, when it's time to approach a girl or make a move on her or really play to win with the women that you really want, you pussy out. Because the risk of rejection challenges your ego and sense of self-worth. Your identity now gives you something to lose. But whether it's dating or life in general, your ability to win in new areas is directly related to your willingness to drop the ego and adopt a fresh perspective. Because, I'll tell you what's really a bruise to the ego, being a successful in-shape man with your life in order, but unable to get a date with the woman you really want and having to settle for someone who's just mediocre. And after working with guys like this for years, I can tell you it's way more common than you think. Older men have a major advantage in dating. If you're a man in your 30s and you want a serious relationship, you are in the best position possible. Here's why. The number one thing women look for in a relationship is stability and safety. Most younger guys in their early 20s are broke and have very little life experience. As an older man, you've had years to build your life, your finances, and you're more mature than guys your own age. And you've been around the block, so you know exactly what it is that you'd like out of a relationship. That certainty is attractive to women and will make them feel safe to invest more into you and the relationship early on. And because women usually prefer an older man, you have a golden opportunity to attract the highest quality of women. That's why if you're over 30 and you still don't have this area of your life figured out, you're running out of time. Your 30s are supposed to be your peak as a man, but if you've reached the stage of your life and you still aren't getting the dating results you actually want, you are in serious danger. As you get older, women expect more from you. At this stage of your life, a woman isn't willing to put up with an immature man who doesn't know what he's doing around women. In fact, it's a major red flag because she'll start to think to herself, why has he gone so long without figuring this out? There must be something wrong with him. That's why you need to make this area of your life a priority, because every year that passes without this skill makes you less and less attractive to women. Play to win. Guys will sometimes not be flirty and instead act friendly to a girl they first meet. They do this to avoid being rejected, but it usually ends up getting them stuck in the friend zone. They think by not making a move, they're avoiding risk and maintaining a safe position in the relationship. But newsflash, if you're in a situation where you like a girl and you're not in a romantic relationship yet, then you're already in a losing position. Playing it safe is actually not safe at all. In fact, it's just guaranteed failure because the chances a girl makes a move on you is zero. Always end conversations first. Typically, you want to be the one who is ending the conversation first, whether that means you stop replying to her text or you tell her you'll hit her up later. If you want to attract, you have to stop chasing so hard to a certain extent. This doesn't mean you avoid showing interest or making a move, quite the opposite. It just means that you don't linger any more than necessary in conversations or interactions once they reach their natural end. Instead, you just let them end. This will build up the tension and leave her wanting more. Now, it's important to consider that you don't artificially do this in a gimmicky way. What it really means is you just don't want to be over-invested in your conversation. Don't beat a dead horse and don't try to create momentum out of thin air. It's much better to simply leave a conversation on a high note rather than drag it out just because you feel the need to be texting her out of scarcity. Don't settle. Go for the most attractive girls, the girls that you really want. Most guys are too nervous to approach a truly beautiful girl that they just don't. So by approaching, you're already putting yourself ahead of the curve and opening up the opportunity for it to work. The real truth is that a girl who is a 6 or a 7 or above average looks-wise gets approached more because she's less scary and intimidating than the drop-dead gorgeous girl. Not to mention, average and below average guys feel like they have a better chance. People don't typically aim high or go after their ambitions. The same is true in your dating life. So by going for the top tier women, you're automatically more likely to get them. Use an observational opener. When you first approach her, instead of using a gimmicky pickup line, comment on something unique to the situation.
What did you guys order?
A lot of guys think that they have to be overly witty or charismatic and have great game in order to appeal to the girl, but this actually scares her away. Remember, when you first approach a girl, you are a stranger. A woman's natural reaction to a stranger approach approaching them is to put their guard up. So when you pretend to be someone you're not and put up this facade of being overly charismatic, the girl sniffs it from a mile away. She'll start to think of you as a total creep. Instead, act down to earth and normal when you approach her. She's more likely to let her guard down and hear what you have to say before labeling you as a creep or potential threat. Avoid girls with huge egos. A woman with an ego is a woman who always has something to prove and, more importantly, something to defend. If she has to prove herself to other people, it will often come at the expense of you and your relationship. She'll put you or the relationship in second place to her ego and do everything she can to upkeep it. So make sure you avoid this energy at all costs. Avoid women who are needy. If you're a man with any ambition to do something with your life, you must absolutely avoid needing women like the plague. They will suck your time, energy, and attention away from more important things and be a constant nag. A relationship should be complementary to your lifestyle, meaning it fits in perfectly and enhances your life. It shouldn't take away from you or your mission. A truly high-value woman will make your life and mission easier, not harder. Avoid women who are petty. A girl who is petty is probably the worst of them all. She will make a big deal out of nothing, she won't take responsibility, and she'll always assume the least charitable interpretation of your action. Not to mention, she'll scorekeep and be vindictive about the littlest things. Dealing with petty girls is a constant back and forth of childish and unnecessary confrontations and arguments. And as a successful man, it's the last thing you need. Trust your conversational muscle. If I put a truly beautiful 10 out of 10 woman in front of you and told you to approach her and strike up a conversation, chances are you'd be nervous as fuck and think, oh my god, I don't know what to say. But this is dead wrong. Think about it. You've had thousands of conversations in your life with coworkers, family members, strangers in your day-to-day life. You already know how to have a conversation. Talking to an attractive girl is not different. Tease her, make some jokes, use your brain, and most importantly, trust yourself. Understand your nerves. The reason you're nervous is because you want the interaction to go 100% smooth and 100% perfect. This is an impossible standard to live up to when you're a beginner, and it's also totally not necessary. You do not need to do everything perfectly in order to get the girl interested, get her phone number, or even get her on a date with you. You just have to be good enough. The boyfriend paradox. This happens to guys very often once they get into a relationship. They start off strong with a girl, they get her to like them and be really interested, but then they become too comfortable. They start to require attention and validation from the girl, which results in them becoming needy. This is the beginning of the end for most guys. It usually ends with the girl losing attraction and eventually respect for him. And it's because you're no longer the man she fell in love with. The reason this happens is because you don't have a secure sense of self-worth. So you go into the relationship and try using the girl's approval as your new source. This codependence puts you beneath her, and it makes it impossible for her to respect you. And once the respect is lost, it's game over. That's why it's crucial to actually be yourself early on with a woman. Because if you're putting on a mask, on a long enough time horizon, the mask will fall off and she'll see you for who you truly are. Take inbound generating photos. On dating apps, you want photos that will entice a response from the girl and make her reach out to you. The most common example of this is a dog photo. Every girl loves dogs, so if you have one, it will entice her to say, oh my god, your dog is so cute, and boom, conversation started. Dog photos, adventurous pictures in popular locations in your area, photos of you doing a hobby or activity that's appealing to girls are all great examples. My surfing photo is one of my most commented photos on my profile, with girls regularly saying, oh, teach me how to surf, or oh, this is so cool. Photos will make or break your results on dating apps, and that's why it's important to spend 95% of your time on photos. Dating apps and people in general are superficial. There's no getting around this. Guys complain all the time instead of just using this fact as a reason to spend most of their time on photos. Like business, if your marketing sucks, then nobody's going to inquire or have any desire to buy your product. Same is true on dating apps. The way you market yourself in your photos is literally everything. When I work with private clients in my program, we literally spend the first 3 to 4 weeks assigning them a photographer, revamping their whole wardrobe, and testing dozens of different photos on their profiles. And by the way, if you'd like to work with me personally to totally revamp your profile start to finish, click the first link in the description to apply to work with me privately. The reason the majority of guys get no results on apps is because they've never been intentional about how they take their photos. Most guys just take whatever poorly taken photos they have from vacation or a dimly lit night out with friends, slap them onto a profile, and then wonder, why am I not getting any matches? It's literally because you're doing the same exact thing that every guy does. So your profile is not competitive. Get a clear photo of your face. Women are imaginative. She needs to know what you look like in order for her to start building the idea of you in her mind. Switching my first photo from this to this 5x'd my matches overnight. The reason? I simply removed by sunglasses. If she can't see your face clearly, it'll create uncertainty, and uncertainty on dating profiles makes women swipe left. Now here's a quick tip to make your face and jawline look more attractive in photos. Try extending your neck and your chin slightly forward and downwards to try to get your face at the right angle and accentuate your jawline. Doing so will give your face more structure and avoid you leaning backwards and creating a very unattractive double chin. You'll also want to include a full body photo. A girl needs to imagine what you'd look like in person, and getting the whole picture of you by seeing more than just your face is going to give her more confidence that she's making a good decision when she swipes right. Full body shots are also your opportunity to flex a nice outfit, so make sure you're wearing well-fitting clothing and show the girl how well you present yourself. Women are status oriented, so if she sees that you're well dressed and put together, that's going to make her think, oh, I'd love to walk into a restaurant with this man because he'll make me look good as well. Once your photos are optimized, then you can focus on prompts, which is why Hinge is the best dating app results-wise for my clients by far. Hinge gives you the most detailed look at a girl's personality out of any other app. How she thinks, any potential red flags are easier to spot on Hinge because the app forces you to actually write stuff about yourself. You don't get this luxury on Tinder or Bumble because prompts aren't required. So if you know that you want to avoid girls with certain personality traits that have been trouble for you in the past, their prompts will give you the best glimpse without needing to commit to a full in-person date. You want to make sure that you avoid time wasters. There are girls who are on there out of pure boredom or just looking for an ego boost and free validation. The chances that you get these girls out on a date is very low, so you want to filter them out with your prompts and text messages to make sure you focus on girls who are serious about meeting up. Focus on the serious girls. Yes, there are girls who are serious about going on dates and actually meeting up with people. As long as you're direct and to the point and don't make any mistakes, you should be able to get dates with these girls very easily, but it requires a rock solid profile and text game to follow it up with. The in-betweeners. Now, there's also girls who are open to the idea of going on a date with a guy, but won't invest or make a lot of effort into actually making it happen. These girls are going to require you to have more game and build more interest over time before they agree to a date. That's why you're best off moving these girls to Instagram to build that interest for you. A successful message strategy on the apps is to send a message that filters out the time wasters and simultaneously attracts the serious girls, because there's nothing worse than having tons of Tinder combos that go nowhere. And if you're a guy who struggles with your text conversations on dating apps and you struggle to send text messages that get dates, then click the link in the description and get my free texting course, which will give you the 3 best opening lines for dating apps and exactly how to send texts that lead to dates. Stop chasing women. Chase success instead. This is one of the stupidest yet most popular sayings you'll hear on the internet from men today. The idea that making money and getting women are mutually exclusive is the ultimate lie. The reason this mindset is so popular is because the average social IQ is lower than ever. Men are having less sex than ever. This mindset is an excuse because it allows men to over-romanticize locking themselves away from the world in isolation and deflect from their girl problems and retreat into the gym or their work rather than confronting their lack of social skills head on. Just ask yourself, are you really that inefficient of a worker that you don't have 2 hours a week to go on a date? By the age of 25, I had generated millions of dollars over the years and worked on multiple businesses, and I had plenty of time to date women when I wanted to. Literally all of my richest friends were also rich in their 20s and dated throughout the grind. Now listen, dating isn't everything. Don't date if you don't want to, but make sure you're being honest with yourself about why. Most guys use success or focusing on themselves as an excuse to cope and rationalize why they suck with women and make themselves feel better and avoid the hard work of improving. And the more successful you are and the better your life is, the easier it is for you to lie to yourself this way and put it off. That's why working with probably over 50 millionaires over the years in my coaching program, the most common thing they tell me is, I wish I started this sooner. Because guess what? Even when you do make the money, women don't just come falling from the sky. You still need to have the social skills and understanding of how to attract them. Most men don't understand how to interpret eye contact from a woman. I'll make it extremely simple. Women approach with their eyes. It's her signal to you that she wants you to approach her. 99% of women will not initiate beyond that, so it's on you as the man to approach her and make it happen. Avoid women who are controlling. You have no one to answer to but yourself. You want to aim for women and relationships that are complementary to your lifestyle and values as a person. This way, you don't have to change anything about yourself or your life, and she doesn't have to either. Don't be afraid to say the wrong thing. Most guys play it too safe when talking to women. Understand understand this. If you're too afraid to say the wrong thing, you'll never say the right thing. When it comes to dating, you want to find a romantic partner who likes you for who you are. And you can't do that if you're constantly pretending to be someone you're not. Women have an incredibly high social IQ. They can tell when you're pretending to be somebody else. And one of the biggest turnoffs for a woman is when a guy lies about who he is, or worse, is just too pussy to just be who he is. Dating is a math problem. Let's say 1 out of every 10 girls you meet or interact with, you're able to go on a date with. Well, if you only interacted with 5 women in the last 3 months, then you're not going to have any dates, because for every 10 women you meet, you get 1 date. The only way you can get more dates is to either meet more women or to increase your conversion rate, meaning instead of only getting 1 date out of every 10 women you meet, to bump that up to 1 date out of every 5 women you meet, or 1 date out of every 3 women you meet. Most guys overcomplicate dating when the truth is there's only 2 ways to get more dates: either meet more women or convert more of the women that you're meeting into dates. Once you break it down like this, it's very easy to see your blind spots and rapidly increase the number of dates you're going on. Don't be afraid of rejection. Listen here. No matter how good looking, tall, or rich you are, there is always a chance you will be rejected by a woman for a million reasons beyond your control. Whether she has a boyfriend, is not looking for a relationship, or is just flat out not interested in you, you are always at risk of rejection. So instead of avoiding it, understand that it's a necessary part of putting yourself out there and putting yourself in a position to win. Develop the ability to cold approach. If you want to start meeting women and getting dates consistently, then you should really focus on cold approach. Instagram, social media, and dating apps are all viable options for meeting women, but the issue with them is that they're oversaturated. It's very hard to stand out and build connections with women unless you have a competitive edge. And that edge is typically very good photos, which, unless you're getting outside help, is very difficult to get on your own. And number 2, bios and prompts that stand out and separate you from the rest. Now, the benefit of cold approach is that building connections and attraction becomes 10 times easier, because you're no longer just one of the hundreds of guys in her DMs hitting on her. You've now become the guy she met in person who was brave enough to go up to her and strike up a conversation. And you get the benefit of building a strong in-person, face-to-face romantic connection in real time, because you're physically there in front of her rather than behind a screen waiting for a text back. Be wary of nightclubs. Going to clubs to pick up women is kind of stupid. You stay up late, screaming over loud music, trying to talk to a girl who will probably be dragged away by her friends 3 minutes into your conversation. So even if you do everything right, there's still a good chance you lose and end up going home alone. And even if you do win and bring a girl back, well, congratulations, brother. Your reward is that you're going to stay up until 4 a.m. having sex with a sweaty girl who sticks to your bedsheet. And your entire next day is ruined because by the time you Ubered her home, it was 5 a.m. The ROI for night clubbing is non-existent. This is why if you're an ambitious man with a busy lifestyle, meeting women during the day is actually better, because it doesn't require you to stay up late, it doesn't disrupt your schedule, and you can meet women while you're going about your day-to-day life. It doesn't even require any extra time. Never take back your ex after a breakup. If a girl breaks up with you, it's over. She has decided that you as a man are not worth her time, effort, and investment. She's throwing you to the wayside in pursuit of better options. Once she makes the decision to break up with you, she is saying, there's a man out there who's better than you, and I'm gonna go find him. Her decision to break up with you declares her complete lack of faith in you. Upon arriving at this point, why would you ever want to take her back? I've consulted hundreds of men after their breakups and divorces, and the difference between the men who go off and find success in newer, better relationships versus the ones who don't are the men who are willing to cut their losses and move on. The men who chase after their ex or wait around for her to make up her mind always end up worse off, because they're chasing a woman who deep down no longer wants them. And the reason they're operating from this place of scarcity is because after a divorce and a breakup, your confidence is at an all-time low and you're severely out of practice when it comes to meeting new women. This creates a vicious feedback loop where, because you haven't gone on a first date in months or sometimes even years, you end up lacking the confidence to go and perform well. And a lot of times, if you've been in a relationship for years, all of your photos are years old and outdated and no longer performing on the dating apps, and going up and starting a conversation with a girl is something that you've already forgotten. That's why when you first get out of a breakup, it's incredibly important to have a reliable framework and blueprint to actually go out and meet women. And if you're a guy who's fresh off a breakup or a divorce and you'd like to have a step-by-step guided blueprint to get you back out there meeting women and going on 1 to 3 dates per week, then click the first link in the description and apply to work with me inside of my private coaching program, where we will build you your own custom blueprint for getting 1 to 3 dates per week with girlfriend quality women. Never split the check on a first date. If you can't afford to pay a bill for 2 on a date, you should not be dating. dating. Why? Because you're a full-grown man. If you can't afford to pay the check on the first date, then you're failing your most basic responsibility, which is to protect and provide. If you're penny pinching over a $50 bill, then you probably shouldn't be dating, and you should focus on not being homeless. And we're not talking about taking girls to 5-star restaurants or doing something super expensive. Coffee dates, ice cream, drinks, dinner, a walk in the park. This is normal, casual, inexpensive stuff. If you invite a woman out, it is on you to look after her. Now listen, the date sucks and she's terrible and you never want to see her again, then maybe when the check comes you can say, so how do you want to split this? Take the lead in their relationship. When it comes to a romantic relationship, they're gonna prefer to be led by a man whose judgment and character they trust. The way you build this trust is by assuming and demonstrating your leadership early on. The biggest mistake most guys make is that when planning a first date with a girl, they don't take leadership in the text conversation, the meetup, or the scheduling of the date. When it comes time to schedule the logistics of where you're gonna go, where you're gonna meet up, how you're gonna pick her up, at what time, all of these are things that you as the man need to be taking the lead on. Because from her perspective, if she's a woman and she has to spend 2 hours getting ready and she has to choose the place and the time and do a bunch of work to go on the date and make it happen, it's going to be a really low value proposition from your end, especially if it's a first date. She'll start to feel like she's putting in too much work for a guy she doesn't even know yet. Take massive action. Most of you watching this are too afraid to take a chance and bet on yourself, too afraid to approach the girl, too afraid to escalate, too afraid to ask for the date, allergic to risk and action taking. I need to think about it a little bit more. Oh, well, now's not the right time. Oh, well, once I lose a few more pounds, or once the end of the sales cycle is done, or once I get that promotion at work, or once I finish moving in, then I'll do it. Just say you're a little bitch and you're not serious, brother. Save us both the time, because whether it be in dating, your career, or even fitness, you have to take massive amounts of action towards your goal. Sitting around reading books, watching motivational videos, researching on YouTube, and planning will not get you where you want to be. Because the truth is, most of you enjoy the ego boost you gain from discussing your goals rather than actually accomplishing themselves. You're literally addicted to cucking yourself. There's no trophy for having a goal or even working towards it. Trophies are only awarded once you've accomplished it. Winners win, losers lose. Deep down, you know what you are. Your mindset shapes your reality. The biggest reason men fail in dating is because of their mindset. They lack the understanding and the perspective necessary to accomplish what they want and become the man they want to be. The number one thing you need to succeed in this area is the ability to go all in. You can't half-ass or dabble in this area if you're like, it is the worst thing you can do. Because when you dabble in a ton of different things and you never fully commit, you never have the motivation or desire to focus on what's important. You'll always be content chasing the new shiny thing that you find in front of you. And that's the underlying problem for most men. They lack the ability to lock in and go all in on that one thing. Communication is crucial for developing healthy relationships. Romantic relationships are predicated on emotional communication. The problem for smart men is that their smart and logical brain is useless in romantic interactions. This is why there are broke guys doing better than you. It's because they know how to make a woman feel good anytime they're around them. So the next time you're around a girl, focus on your words and actions to create a feeling. Because remember, you can do anything to a woman except for her. Don't sit around moping after a breakup. If a girl breaks up with you, you must replace her. Think about it like this. If you lost $1,000, you would be heartbroken and upset. But if I walked over and handed you $10,000, you wouldn't care about the original $1,000 you lost. Why is that? Because you received something more valuable than what you initially lost. If you still can't get over your ex, it's because the truth is that you can't go out there and meet a new girl who is more valuable than the relationship you lost. Because once a girl decides to break up with you, she makes a bet against your future and decides that you as a man are no longer her best option. And once she reaches that point of no return, there's no coming back from that. If a girl ignores your text, don't take it personally. If a girl doesn't text you back, it's not the end of the world. A lot of guys get their egos hurt and take it super personally when a girl doesn't reply to every text they send. But let's be real here for a second. Have you responded to every single text you've ever received in your life? No, of course not. So do you really expect an attractive girl to respond to every message you send her? No. Of course not, because she's a human being too. She's bound to miss a text or two from you every now and again. Many guys who get a girl's phone number expect her to want to text them back and forth all day and be super high priority to her. But a girl you just met doesn't have a deep level of interest in you because she doesn't know you. And because she doesn't know you, she will feel less inclined to respond to every text you send. So you must follow up. If a girl ignores your text, just text her again. Don't think so hard about it. Sometimes you have to double, triple, and yes, maybe even every once in a while, quadruple text a girl if you want to get her out on a date. And this applies even if you are a successful millionaire. Trust me, I would know. I had a client worth deep 8 figures whose record for following up with a girl was literally 6 times until she finally replied and agreed to the date. Why is this the case? Because a first date for an attractive woman is very risky. Remember, she has unlimited options. So by agreeing to a first date with you, she's betting that you are her best option for that first date out of everyone else. She's always going to be resistant to going on a first date with a new guy because you could be a total creep or weirdo. But when you follow up with her, you give yourself more opportunities for her to say yes, and you increase the chances of her saying yes because all the other insecure guys were too afraid to follow up and got scared off. And before you think this is beta or simping, just remember that it literally only takes 2 seconds to send a follow-up text and you have nothing to lose. Worst case, you get ignored again and you're back to exactly where you started. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you text a girl endlessly until the end of time. If you notice she's consistently ignored you more than a couple times, just move on and focus on other connections with other women. You do not need to feel 100% confident in order to get success. The reason most guys won't approach is because of their approach anxiety. They see a cute girl, they get nervous, and then they do nothing. You start to think, I just need to be more confident. And this is precisely the problem. You don't actually need to feel confident to approach and have success. In fact, just think about a time you talked to a girl or you went on a date. You were probably nervous, but you ended up making a move anyway, and you probably even had success. And if you're able to achieve success despite being nervous, then do you really need to be confident in order to find success? Of course not. But this internal need to feel 100% comfortable and confident before making the approach is the problem. You don't have to be an expert at cold approach to be successful. You just have to be good enough. Dating is like a muscle. Most guys think that if they get rich, go to the gym, and become high status, women will just come naturally. But what a lot of men fail to realize is that dating is a skill. Just like any other skill in life, dating must be practiced and refined. You must actively work on your dating skills if you ever expect to see results. No guy meets their perfect 10 out of 10 woman and everything works out perfectly for the first time. You must go through many experiences with women and dating to understand what kind of relationship and woman best suits you. Because if you don't, you'll just jump headfirst into a relationship with the wrong woman, and then you'll wake up one day years down the line trapped in a toxic relationship asking yourself where it all went wrong. The conversation treadmill. Avoid interviewing the girl. What do you do for fun? Where do you go to school? Do you work? Do you like it? Do you have a dog? What kind of dog is it? If your conversations sound like this, you're on what I call the conversation treadmill, which means you're having a conversation that goes absolutely nowhere and is keeping you stuck in a platonic, friend-zoned level. Nobody likes to be interviewed on a date when the whole purpose is to have fun and relax. Even I get triggered when I go on dates with girls and they just start to endlessly interview me. Just start by asking her a question or two and letting the conversation flow from there. Instead of asking more questions, you should make statements and share your opinions. This will allow her to ask you questions and create a healthy back and forth dialogue that's engaging and fun for the both of you. Here's exactly what to do on a first date with an attractive girl. You want to be playful in conversation. Don't take what she says too seriously, but also mix in asking questions about herself, finding out what motivates her, finding out who she is as a person. And when she reveals these things to you, instead of just rapid fire going through them like an interview, make jokes about it. Misinterpret her answers in a playful way. It's important that you do this because the process of getting to know someone is supposed to be fun. That's what a date is all about. You two choosing to spend your time together and having fun getting to know one another. If your dates aren't fun, you're either with the wrong woman or you're doing them all wrong. Never mistake your achievements for your identity. This is a common mistake I see with lots of guys who are on the successful side. Your achievements are trophies you've won from countless internal battles with yourself. Your physique, material items, career, business, and any other accomplishments are proof of those victories. But if you take away all those external trophies, you're still the same person. Lots of successful men that I work with make the mistake of attaching their identity to these accomplishments. They develop an ego and sense of superiority. They think that because they've accomplished great things in their life, it makes them deserving of attractive women. It's a big reason they struggle with dating. In their mind, they think women want an accomplished man, and that's it. They think they have everything they need already. But the problem with making your accomplishments your identity is that there will always be someone more accomplished than you. If you think your money is your identity, there's always going to be someone richer than you. If your physique is your identity, there's always someone in better shape than you. And if you operate from this lens, you'll never feel worthy of the women that you like because you'll subconsciously feel insecure that she's going to choose someone better, or that you constantly need to keep improving yourself in order to be worthy of the type of women that you like. And this, unfortunately, puts guys on a decades-long treadmill where they avoid learning the skill of actually meeting women and instead run around in circles trying to increase their value. How to overcome scarcity. When it comes to dating, most guys operate from a place of scarcity, and the reason for that is because they don't have a reliable system for meeting and connecting with attractive women consistently. So every new attractive woman they meet means that much more to them if they lose her. The only way to solve this is by having a repeatable way to bring new women into your life. Whether it's dating apps, Instagram, or in person, you need to have a steady flow of women coming into your life in order to create the type of abundance you're looking for. Don't force a relationship. If a girl tries to friend zone you, the best thing you can do is simply say goodbye to her. Cut her out of your life completely. Too many guys waste months or years waiting around hoping she'll change her mind, but the truth is, she never will. If you're looking for something romantic but she isn't, move on. She isn't compromising for you, so why should you try to compromise for her? Speak to your target audience. If your goal is to attract a certain type of woman, you want to curate your profile and your Instagram to speak to her and her interests. The more carefully curated your profile, the better it will resonate with the specific type of woman you're looking to attract. Most guys are operating from such scarcity that they never give thought to the actual type of woman that they're looking for. Not just physically, but the qualitative characteristics as well. Personality, interests, hobbies. If you have a specific vision for the type of woman you're looking for, then your profile and the way you present yourself needs to speak to that specific archetype of woman in order to attract her. Open with a compliment.
Excuse me. Hi. Super random. I saw you and I thought you were cute, so I wanted to say hi.
Lots of guys get nervous and stuck in their head over what to say when they first approach a girl, but after helping tens of thousands of guys make their first approach, we found that the easiest thing to do is to simply go up and be honest. Open with a compliment, because the truth is, you're approaching her because you think she's attractive. So just tell her that. Introduce yourself and follow up by asking a few small talk questions to get the ball rolling and get into a flow. Usually, the hardest part is just starting, so making it as easy as possible to get yourself in there without needing to think about rehearsed lines or scripts is going to be the easiest way to start getting results fast. Dating is too time consuming. This is the most common excuse guys use to justify why they don't get results in their dating life, but quite frankly, it's just not true. I want you to genuinely ask yourself this: is there anything in life worth having that doesn't require a concerted, intentional effort? The answer is no, of course not. But the more important question to ask yourself is, what's stopping you from meeting and connecting with the women you're already seeing and coming across as you walk through your day-to-day life? Because the truth is that you're probably already walking past and missing opportunities with women that you're encountering in your day-to-day life anyway. Possibly the funniest part about this whole dating takes too much time argument is that the same guys supporting it will spend 20 to 30 minutes a day swiping on dating apps. They would rather spend their time in the comfort of their own home, scrolling on Tinder, feeling like they're doing something, even though they haven't updated their profile in months, they haven't tested out new openers, and they've never approached a girl. You don't have to be an extrovert to talk to women. A lot of introverts think that you need to be extroverted in order to get success, but this is dead wrong. More often than not, being an introvert is actually a superpower in in-person interactions. Why? Because a lot of guys think that they need to be Mr. Personality and have great game in order to appeal to the girl. But this actually scares her away. Remember, when you first approach a girl, you are a stranger. A woman's natural reaction to a stranger is to simply just put her guard up. So when you pretend to be someone you're not and put up this facade of being overly charismatic, the girl sniffs it from a mile away. That's why if you're an introvert, it'll actually be easier for you to just go up and be normal. You can act down to earth when you approach the girl, and she's more likely to let her guard down and hear what you have to say before labeling you as a creep or potential threat. The right woman will come into your life when you're ready. This is the most cliche and overused trope society tells you about dating. And the funny part is that it's total nonsense. Life isn't some movie universe fantasy. Like all things worth having, you have to work for it. A strong relationship with a 10 out of 10 woman isn't going to magically fall into your lap. As a man, nothing in your life is free. You have to work and go get it. And if you're expecting the perfect relationship to fall in your lap, then you may as well quit your job and expect $10 million to fall in your lap as well. If you've been talking to a girl for a while, but you don't know if she likes you, just ask her out. If you're talking to a girl and you're already at the stage where you're texting back and forth, or maybe you know her in person, or you're kind of getting mixed signals, you don't really know if she likes you, just stop pussyfooting. Stop sitting there overthinking and analyzing whether or not she likes you like it's some philosophical existential question. Just ask her out on a date, because if you ask her out, you're either going to get one of two responses. Either one, she says yes, in which case, there you go. Congrats, you have your answer. She likes you enough to go out on a date with you. Or number two, she's going to say no, which means she doesn't like you. She doesn't want to go on a date with you. Or she'll just flat out ignore your message, which means she's not into you either. I literally just solved the whole conundrum for you. You're welcome. Dating is a competition. An attractive girl can realistically have her pick of any man. If you can't demonstrate to her that you are worth keeping around, then she will view you as disposable. She'll throw you to the wayside in pursuit of someone more valuable. If you can't show her you're worth being around, you're always going to be one step behind your competition. A woman wants to feel special when they're with you. You have to make her feel like no other guy can, because she'll always choose the man who makes her feel the best. It doesn't matter your height, net worth, age, or physique. As long as you provide her with that strong emotional connection and make her feel good, you have a chance. Women act as a mirror. Dating is one of the few places where, as a man, you can't hide from yourself. You can't hide from your character deficiencies or your insecurities. Men are used to being able to hide behind a phone screen, a professional persona, or their accomplishments. But the reality is that once you come face to face with a woman, that safety net is gone. You can no longer hide. A woman can see you for who you truly are. And most men are not willing to face themselves in this way. Self-improvement won't fix your dating life. The idea that taking cold showers, going to the gym, journaling, starting a side hustle will somehow magically get you more women is just a flat out lie. Dating itself is a skill. And although all of these other self-improvement tactics may help other areas of your life, they're probably not going to change the fact that you have no idea what to do on a date, or you have no idea how to text a girl in order to get her out on the date in the first place. So make sure that if you're looking to solve a specific problem, you're looking for a specific solution. Treat your dating profile like a resume. Most guys get 0 matches on dating apps despite all the effort they put in. But genuinely ask yourself, do you think a hot girl will have any interest in you when your bio says nothing special about you? Of course not. The whole point of having a dating profile is to show women the type of man you are. You need to take your dating profile as seriously as you would a resume. Because think about it, the same way you wouldn't apply to an essential job with a lousy resume, you wouldn't want your first impression with a woman to have a lousy presentation. Timidness is the #1 killer of attraction. This is an issue I see even with more successful guys. Men who are complete crushers in every aspect of their life, but when you put them around a woman, they're overcome with hesitation and timidness. The woman snips this from a mile away and it becomes a major turnoff. Rather than channel that same confidence they have in their personal or professional life, they beat around the bush. They're scared of being themselves just because they're in front of a pretty girl. And they haven't realized that the only difference between you and the man who's gotten everything he wants out of his dating life is that he's come to the fundamental realization that women are just people. No matter how attractive they are, no matter how special you think they may be, at the end of the day, she's just a person too. So what do you really have to lose? Set clear boundaries and expectations for the relationship. This goes beyond just dating. If you have friends, family, or romantic partners that don't provide value to your life or respect the boundaries that you set forth, you should probably cut them off. The reason men lose power and respect in their relationships is because they either don't have boundaries to begin with, or they let those boundaries get walked all over once they get comfortable around a woman. And once the woman knows that you have no backbone and can't even respect yourself enough to enforce your own boundaries, the relationship is completely lost. Height doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it does. A lot of times, if you're a short guy, you think that since you're short, you need some unique pickup artist technique to convince girls to like you. But the truth is that if a few inches is enough to make you rethink your entire approach and strategy around women, then you probably don't deserve to date the most attractive women to begin with. Unfortunately, if you're a shorter guy, those are the cards you were dealt. You can either sit around whining and never go anywhere in your life, or you can do your best to play the hand that you were dealt. Because, after all, that's what true masculinity is all about. Taking responsibility for your life and making the most of it. Because the truth is, if you're a guy who's on the shorter side, let's say you're 5'6" or you're 5'7", the average height for a woman in the United States is 5'4". So even if you're a guy who's super short, only 5'6", you still have a full 2 inches on the average woman. Most women don't care that much about height. They usually just want a girl who's just as tall, if not an inch or two taller than them. So unless you're looking to date 6'1" Victoria's Secret runway models, you'll probably do just fine. Now, is your pool of options slightly smaller because there's some women who just want to date a guy who's 6 foot or over 6'2" or whatever it is? Yes, of course. But when your dating pool is literally millions and millions of women, shrinking that by a few percentage points is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Wear a good fragrance. One of the most underrated ways to leave a great first impression is by wearing a seductive fragrance. I can't think of anything that will win you more easy points on a date than smelling good. It sparks a visceral, almost caveman level of desire in a girl that will make her perceive everything you do in a much more attractive light. My current favorite recommendation is Amouage Reflection. I totally butchered the name, but it's a clean and fresh fragrance that works for day, night, summer, winter. It's very expensive, but it makes you smell very rich and luxurious and isn't overpowering. I get insane compliments with it all the time. So if you're looking for a new fragrance, definitely check it out. And no, it's not sponsored. It's actually my genuine recommendation. I paid almost $400 for my own bottle. If you're looking for something that's super budget friendly, I recommend getting something like Zara Vibrant Leather. It's like 20 or 30 bucks. It's a huge bottle. It lasts forever, works during any occasion, any time of year, and will get you a ton of compliments. Men peak in their 30s. This is a common trope that you hear that I find really laughable because the average man at 35 is overweight, has no muscle mass, makes $50K a year, and has low testosterone. Does this sound like peak male performance to you? Of course not. The only men who actually peak at age 35 are the men peaking every single day regardless of what age they are. These men are waking up every day with the mindset to conquer the world around them. They're doing everything in their power to fulfill their potential and set themselves up on an upward trajectory towards accomplishing their mission. A lot of men use this idea that they're going to peak later in life to cope and justify to themselves why they aren't where they want to be in their life right now or dating the types of women they want. But the truth is, if you're going to peak at age 35, then that means you're already crushing life right now and you're going to stay on that upward trajectory. It's important that you understand that your problems today will be your problems tomorrow and in the future if you don't solve them and handle them now. So don't let this idea that you're going to peak somehow later in life and have it all figured out stop you from taking the necessary action steps you need to take right now. Moving on after a breakup is a decision. The biggest lie men believe after a breakup is that there's going to come a day where they magically feel better and are ready to get back out there. But newsflash, that day will never come. The only time you'll begin to feel better is when you accept the fact that the relationship is over and she's not coming back. The only way forward is to replace the hole she left in your life with something new. Moving on is a decision, not a feeling that washes over you. The reason most guys willingly wallow after a breakup is because the emotions are the only remaining attachment to the woman. When you choose to move past those feelings and thoughts, that's when you really lose the girl completely, and that's what hurts most. Your thoughts shape your reality, and if your thoughts revolve around her 24/7, it's as if a part of her is still here. So as long as you cling to the past, you'll never be able to build a better present or future. And if you want to move on, stop making excuses. The number one reason you don't see results in your dating life is because of your excuses. You hide behind cliches like, oh, women don't like nice guys, women don't like short guys, women only want a rich man. The reason you hide behind these cliches is because of fear, and you let that fear of rejection paralyze you. The truth is, you would rather sit around all day coping and making excuses as to why women don't like you instead of putting yourself out there and taking action. And the only way to overcome this fear is to cut the bullshit and simply stop making excuses. Every day that you make excuses is another day wasted that you'll never get back. And as each day passes, you're letting these opportunities and potential women you could be meeting pass you by. Here's how to never get nervous around an attractive girl again. You need to realize that when you feel nervous, it's because you're trying to anticipate an outcome in the future that hasn't happened yet. When you see the attractive girl and you get the urge to approach her but you're overcome by fear, the reason you feel nervous is because you're worried about an imaginary outcome that isn't real. It only exists in your mind. You only have so much control over the future. So this idea that you can control any outcome or how a woman reacts is flawed beyond belief. Instead, you need to embrace the randomness that is the universe and be willing to accept any outcome regardless of what it is, and to trust you'll be able to handle it regardless of what happens. You can execute everything perfectly and still lose. Approaching strangers on the street is by definition a low conversion game. When you approach someone, you have no idea what their life context and circumstances are. She could have a boyfriend. She could be 3 dates in with a guy she's really interested in. Her dog could have just died. She could be late for a job interview. You have no idea what's going on in her life when you first approach her. Therefore, even if you execute everything perfectly, there's still a very good chance that you can lose the interaction and get rejected. That's why as a man, you always have to be willing to let the chips fall where they may. And that's why the last tip is the most important. Trust yourself. The easiest way to be confident in your interactions, to approach dating and women from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity, is to always trust that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. And even if you're not okay, you trust yourself to pick up the pieces and keep working until you are. Humans are the most resilient and adaptable species that there is. Being able to adapt is in your DNA. So if you ever find yourself second guessing, nervous, or afraid of some outcome, it really boils down to the fact that you simply don't trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself to do the right thing, it's likely because the actions and skills that you have are not good enough to deal with the current situation in front of you. And if you want to work with me and my team personally to help you develop the skill of dating to get you on 1 to 3 dates per week with girlfriend quality women, whether it's through dating apps, in person, or Instagram, then click the first link in the description and apply to work with me inside my private coaching program.